Hello, and welcome back to Android App Tutorials with Luke. And that's me, by the way. And this episode, I am going to be working on intent data and activity results with you, which I know sound fascinating. They're not. They're really not. This is the project from the last episode where we made a list view with fruit. It's not essential to this, but we are going to be basing it off this. So if you're a newbie, then I'd recommend that you just get this set up quickly. Just have a look at the last episode, episode 5. So we need to make a new activity for this. We're going to make a new normal activity. We go to new and then activity, empty activity, and then let's call it second activity. I think this is exactly what I called it last time because I'm that predictable. Okay, so what we want to do in this activity today is we want to make it send some stuff back to activity 1, and we want activity 1 send some stuff to activity 2, so this means everything can communicate properly. You can use this for a number of things. You can send enumerations through there. If you have a chart activity, like I do in one of my apps, and you want to use the same activity for lots of different types of charts, then you can just communicate to the activity with intent data what type of chart you want to be in, etc, etc. But we're not going to do anything as complicated as that. We are just going to send text this episode. Let's start by sending some stuff. So in the first activity, we've got a list view here, and that is all we've got. So what we will do is make it so that when someone clicks on the list, it will send whichever one they've clicked on as a toast to the second activity, or even as a text view. Let's do that. Okay, so we need to make a click listener. So we're going to go get list view.set on item click listener, and you go new, and it should, there you go, set it all for us. Oh, and a semicolon at the end. Okay, very generous. Didn't do that last time. I've done this bit before, the basic thing with the intent. So we'll make new intent and then second activity.class. I shouldn't need to explain this, and if you don't know it, then go back to one of my previous videos. We can't use this as I explained before, so let's go make an instance. Again, hopefully you will know about this. If you don't, then you can just go back to one of the previous videos. So it needs to be static, remember that. And then we will create a public getter. I'm just going to rush through this. And then instance this. There we go. So I set the instance up. And then we'll go main activity.get instance. So currently, if we just use that, it would be the same as the previous videos, and it would just send us to that activity with no data. So we want to add some more data and go intent.put extra. So this means we can add loads of different things. We can add anything from a long to an integer to a string. String is what we want to use. So we're going to call it fruit type. That's how we reference it later. And the string itself that we want to send is from the fruit array. So we're going to put fruit and then position here. There you go. That shows what position we've just clicked on. Let's put a little log in here, actually, because I use logging a lot. Let's just use the debug bit. So change your logger here to debug, and this will just check that we've done everything right. So log.d, and then the tag will be intent test, and then we'll just put sending fruit type, and then fruit position, and then dot dot dot. Okay, so whenever we click that, it will happen. Okay, so we click on orange. That sends us to the next activity. Go back here and put in the search thing, intent text. Oh, intent test, sorry. There we go. It's got sending fruit type orange. Okay, so in the second activity, so far we have done nothing with this intent data. So we are going to do something where we put it into a string. So we're going to use a try catch for this. If you don't know about try catches, they're really, really simple. It should be self-explanatory, but if it's not, then just take a quick look online. I'm sure you'll find out about them. It's going to go try, and then catch exception ex. It's just what I call it, exception variables. So we're going to do nothing there at all. And actually, we're going to return because there's no point in doing anything with this activity if we don't have the type of fruit. So we'll put string fruit, that's just an empty variable there, and then we're going to grab it from the intent data. So fruit equals intent, get intent. So this is the stuff from the first activity. So we're going to get string extra. Make sure it's string extra, because you can get Boolean extra, but we can't use that here because it's a string variable. So get string extra and then fruit type, which is exactly the same as we had in the main activity. So here you've got put extra fruit type, and in the second activity you've got get intent, get string extra, fruit type. So that will set it to this, and as I said, if it can't find it, then it will just go here and finish. Now we could do a text view here, but actually I've got a better idea. How about we set the title of the page to whichever fruit we've just taken. So get support action bar, and actually we can just declare it in here. So get support action bar dot set title and then fruit. So when we do it again, there you go, at the top there, it's orange. And if we go again, banana, it will change to banana. And now what we want to do is send information back, because we sent it one way, but it's a little different to send it the other way. So far, we have just said start activity. Now what we're going to do in a minute is start activity for result. So we're going to ask for some results back, but don't worry about that for the minute, because we've actually got to get something to send back first. How about we add some buttons? Let's add a couple here. I apologize if you're going to have a problem with this, but I'm going to add one to the left and add one to the right, just because it's the easiest way to do it. The idea of sending things back is, for instance, if you go from one activity to another to log in, which we will do in another tutorial, then you wanted to send back a result of yes or no. So if it's logged in, you take it to the page wherever you want to go. And if you've not logged in, obviously you don't want to let them in, so you take them back somewhere else. So I'm going to make yes and no buttons, and we'll call this yes button. There you go, that will do. And then we will call that no button, and just type no. Easy as that. We won't bother reskinning the buttons for now. So in here, we need to make it do something when those buttons are clicked. So I forgot to do the on click thing. So if we go to yes, on click here, oh that's great, it's here. Click yes button, and then click no button. Now these results mean nothing obviously, but this is just to show you how it would work. So public void, click yes button, and it has to have the parameters view, and that's it. And then public void, click no button, and the view there. Okay, so it's really simple. We're just going to set the result to either yes or no. Oh, that's banana. Don't need that. So if they click the yes button, then we're going to set result to, well, let's say 1, because that's the universal thing for no, and then finish the activity, so that will send them back to the original one. And then if it's a no, we will set result to, we'll do it to 2, because I think by default it will be 0, and then finish. So whatever happens, it will send us back. Currently, click Kiwi, go in here, press yes. The result has been set, but nothing shows up here. So what we will do is we'll set a toast when it comes back. So if we go to generate here, or press Alt and insert, and then go to override methods, again I've shown you this before, then we are going to use the on activity result. Here you go. This is what happens when it comes back from an activity with a result. So we're going to leave the super there, because that's what's meant to happen anyway. But we're now going to check what the result code is. So we are going to check if result code equals 1, then we are going to say, oh, we'll just use a log actually, because it doesn't take as much time to do. Intent test, and then result yes. and then else if result code equals 2, log.d, intent test, and then result no. Okay, so that's the really, really simple code, and hopefully it should now work. Okay, so let's go for cucumber. Sending fruit type cucumber has worked already down there. Let's hit yes. I think I know the reason that hasn't worked. Okay, the reason that hasn't worked is because I've just done normal start activity. So we need to get rid of that and put start activity for result. So intent and then result code. So we get the result code, which is what we've used there and what we set in the other activity, and then the request code, which is what we sent out initially. So we can actually put the request code in as, let's say, 101 for the sake of it. And so if request code is 101, then it should do all of that. And just trying it out, we'll go for an apple, setting fruit type apple, and then yes, result is yes. Okay, good. And then if we go to orange, sends fruit type orange, and then no, result is no. If it was anything else, then it wouldn't send anything, which is obvious by the if and else if statements. Hopefully that has explained it slightly well. So we've got the original code here from the list view ones, and we've got the code here from the intent ones. Next time, we'll be working on something fairly different. We're going to be working on fragments, which we haven't looked at yet. So it's how to put the activities into different little bits. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.